Yeah. So, just wanted to do a couple of things here on swim start. So, I think we spoke a lot about Gwen in terms of diligence and tenacity and thinking systems. So, just get Gwen to share with us first if she's down on the start line of a swim. I know she touched base with you during the talk, but just to reiterate some of the key thoughts or key processes that Gwen's investing in as she's, on the start line in the moments preceding the gun going off.
So I look at, first of all, the condition of the water, and I try to see if there's any sort of current. Normally I test that out beforehand or have somebody I trust test that out if I don't get in the water, or I just kind of look and try to tell. And then when I'm standing on the start line, that's when I really just focus on the process of what I'm going to do. High elbow, first couple strokes, 4 to 7 strokes, fast strokes. I think about what am I going to do? Am I going to run in the water, and am I going to do some dolphin dives? Are we just diving in? What is the start like, and go through that process in my head.
So some of the skill processes, Gwen, you said, focusing on the first sort of 4 to 7 strokes. What are you thinking there? Are you thinking things like adhesion, grip on the water? Are you thinking about just getting the rating up? What's underlying those thoughts?
Yeah, for me, in the warm-up, I use that something that beeps to tell me a stroke rate. So normally I kind of already have that ingrained in my head, that stroke rate. And so I'm more focusing on having that, like you said, adhesion, high elbow, make sure I'm feeling the force of the water, feel like I really have a lot of pressure.
So if you're going to use bands as well, Gwen, preceding the start, so tell me if you're using bands, it's going to be the same sort of rating as the race with the bands?
Yep, for the bands, I normally, I'm not doing the same sort of rating. I'm normally just working on that adhesion and getting all the muscles woken up basically, and make sure that they're ready and activated and ready to go.
Cool. So a real key thing is that getting that adhesion, getting that grip through those first strokes to springboard you out and to get into the start of the race. So I guess when we look at a start, often Gwen's got a race on a pontoon and it's just a matter of diving off. But for many of you folks, you're probably looking at a beach start more often than not, or a deep water start. So I thought we'd just go some of the processes of a beach start. And even in some of Gwen's races, often Gwen's first major race of the year is Mooloolaba World Cup. And atypically Mooloolaba will be a beach start. It's quite a large beach start actually, in terms of sometimes anything up to about 50 metres of running on the beach. So for me, it has a number of phases to it. There's running on the beach, that's normal running. You've then got running in the water, where you're running on a surface, the bottom of the ocean, which could be undulating, and you're having to lift your ankles and your knees up through recovery to get on top of the water. Then you're in a point where you're diving or you're porpoising or dolphining, and then you're in a point where you're swimming. So it's that 3 phases of running in the water with a higher recovery, diving, dolphining, and porpoising. So we'll get Gwen just to demonstrate some of those 3 processes. Here, I'll get Gwen just to go and check out. We don't know, it's called a bank where the water drops off. And here I don't think there's much of a bank. It's probably really shallow for a lot of it. So we'll just check it out and then we'll demonstrate. Key things when you're running on the sand, obviously you're quite toey. You're going to be leaning forward, getting the midfoot into the sand. You don't want to be sort of ankle striking or overstriding in the sand. It's a very unforgiving surface. So you rate up on the sand, moving forward. Gwen will get into the water, and where she's going to be needing to, as Gwen will demonstrate here, her stride, once she gets a cap on. So her recovery, your right foot recovery. So as Gwen's recovering in the water, she's lifting a foot up and over, lifting a foot up and over, foot up and over. And then porpoising, Gwen will pick a time where it's safe to enter the water, because she's going to enter the water head first. She's just assessed now that there's no banks. So sometimes in an ocean start, the water might drop off and be deep, and then be deep, and then there may be another shallow bank. You don't want to be in a position where you don't know where that shallow bank is. You're better holding your feet, getting over that shallow bank before you look at a head-first entry. You don't wish to be doing a head-first entry into a shallow bank of sand. Okay. So Gwen will run in through recovery, and porpoise and swim for us. That point of which she turns porpoising into swimming, pretty much for most triathletes, is going to be the point in which you can enter your hand hold your elbow high through to midpoint and not touch the water. That's going to be, not touch the ground rather, that's, you're just going to start swimming. Okay, so when the hand goes in, you can hold the high elbow through to midpoint, not touch the sand. That's going to be a point in which you're going to start swimming. So let's see how Gwen goes to those 3 steps in reversal. Yeah, in reverse. So once Gwen starts touching the bottom of the ocean, she'll porpoise. Up through recovery.
You're number 1 out of the water.